3-0 with a better total QBR and more passing yards. So here's the question. What does it say that Wilson continues to beat Cam Newton? Skip Bayless.
What it says to me is that Russell Wilson, 3 straight years at Carolina, has proven he's a more valuable quarterback than Cam Newton. Because 3 straight years in that same stadium, Russell Wilson has made the play to win that game. He has led his team on the drive in the 4th quarter, this time pretty late in the game, to win the game. And there's something about Russell Wilson that continues to evolve, no matter what the controversy was all week, no matter what the hubbub was, or as Pete Carroll calls it, the noise. No matter how poorly or how below average that Russell Wilson might play for 3 quarters of a game, when it is time, there's nobody any more clutch than Russell Wilson. There's nobody, because he now has, that was his 10th game-winning drive, which over the last 2 years is second only to Tony Romo, just for the record. But once again, Cam couldn't make the plays that needed to be made to win the football game, because they had chances in the first half to be up 21-6. And Cam did throw one, what I thought should have been a touchdown pass. I don't know if you remember this one, to Kelvin Benjamin.
Yes.
This kid. But it was up above Richard Sherman, and it hit him in the hands, and it was a tough catch, but you have to catch that football. It was thrown hard, it was thrown high, but you rise up, you snatch it out of the air. That's what you do, and it was thrown in the perfect spot. And it should have been a touchdown.
That's supposed to be a catch.
That's a catch.
That was a good throw, and it was right in one hand, both hands.
Yeah, and it is on Richard Sherman, so the high degree of difficulty, and the kid went up and should have had it. He caught one later in the game down the middle that was just sensational over Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman. But my point is, Cam fumbled down in the red zone, and they just fumble and stumble in the red zone, and they wound up kicking field goals or coming away with no points, and you can't keep doing that. And then Russell Wilson said when he ducked in the huddle with 4:39 left, he couldn't help laughing. And I don't blame him for laughing, because he's like, wait a second, it's deja vu all over again. This is our 3rd straight year in the same stadium. We have a chance to go score. Well, they're 80 yards away. Not that easy against that defense.
Exactly.
And he goes 4 for 4 passing down the field. He runs twice for 21 yards, which are crucial. And then he throws the 23-yarder to the other Wilson, Luke Wilson, ball game.
All right, our NFL,
go ahead. No, that's fine.
NFL analyst Eric Allen's still hanging out.
Yeah.
What does it say?
I agree with you, Skip. And the reasons why is because Russell continues to develop from season to season, game to game, half to half. And you start off with one game plan, and you work on it all week, and you have your situational football. And on the other side, I think Cam is stuck with the game plan. So he's not able to, we understand he's a very athletic guy, and they know he's going to run. And when you're a defense, you kind of set yourself in a situation to where, hey, keep me in the edge, keep me in the pocket, force me to throw from the pocket the whole game. Both these teams have the similar mentality, led by their defense, want to run the football, protect the quarterback. But it just seems like over and over that Russell Wilson is able to take that next step after a poor series or after a 3-and-out. He's going to come back, and he never makes the same mistake twice. And that's the one thing that is glaring to me and to other young quarterbacks. They continue to make those same mistakes, and we keep waiting for them to make that next step of maturity, and Russell seems to be there. Russell seems to make the correct play. He's not going to force the ball. And I think he has really graduated mentally from, this young guy who we talked about his size and not being able to throw from the pocket and a running quarterback. He wins from the pocket. He will force himself to stay in the pocket at times. But when it comes down to that last drive, he's able to get out and run with his legs. I was watching the game and saying to myself, man, they're bottling him up. They're doing an outstanding job of rushing with disciplined lanes, and they're keeping him inside the pocket. And as soon as that rush broke down, he was able to get out and scramble and help his football team. He's not running to score touchdowns. He's running to set himself up to be able to make a big play with his arm. So, again, I think at this point right now, he is the better of the 2 quarterbacks.
All right, Stephen.
He's clearly the better of the 2 quarterbacks, but let's analyze why that is. It does help. You want to make the argument that it helps Russell Wilson that he has Seattle's defense, but you look at Carolina, even though they struggled as of late, signature's been defense has been a signature for that franchise as well. Skip, 80-yard drive, ending, culminating in that 23-yard hookup to win the game. You saw the poise throughout that drive. You saw the confidence in the huddle. You saw everything. I hate to bring this up because I hate it when everybody got on Cam Newton about this in the past. But if you saw him, I don't like to nitpick. I usually leave that up to you. But in this particular instance, that very last play, because he had gotten sacked by Bruce Irvin twice on a final drive, and you could see the frustration ultimately. I mean, it was just elevating inside Cam Newton. And on that last play, I don't know why they decided to just throw the screen or whatever. They didn't even have a chance to finish it. Cam Newton just basically threw it to the ground. And that little play right there just highlighted to me the difference between him and Russell Wilson. Cam Newton wears his frustration on his sleeve. The ability is there. The brother's big time. You know, he's got a lot on his shoulders. I think they were wrong as an organization to let go of Steve Smith, who's showing it to us in Baltimore. This dude's 35 years of age, and he's pretty much their #1 offensive option in Baltimore. Could you imagine what he could do with Benjamin in Carolina? Wow. You understand, with Stewart coming out of the backfield with Cam Newton as your quarterback? I mean, do you imagine how lethal Carolina could have been? Did you imagine that maybe, just maybe, the struggles of this offense has affected the defense because the defense is on the field a little bit too much? All of these things are things I think about, but ultimately it comes back to Cam Newton and the petulance. I don't want to say it because he's not a child, and he's a good dude, you know, and he's ultra talented. But when you're the quarterback, you have got to wear, you can't just be a leader because of your title. You can't be a leader because of your franchise tag and your money. You got to wear leadership. It has to ooze from you. And I looked at Russell Wilson, Legion of Boom, Richard Sherman and all of these guys before they went out on the field after he throws that touchdown. He comes over to them, he's looking at Richard Sherman and let's do this. You see, I mean, I see Cam Newton. Even when they're successful, whether he's sitting on the bench or standing at the sideline, he's got the towel over his head. He's just watching. And Wilson is like, let's go. Let's go.
Stephen A., you actually have, I do believe you have something there. I'm doing an E60 on Cam Newton. And we've entitled it The Maturation of Cam Newton.
Wow.
And it's airing in 2 weeks. And it literally is about him being an adult and coming into his own.
Yeah, but it's about being an adult and coming into his own, right?
I haven't gotten there.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And as a player, you sense that. If you're a defender, you sense that that body language. And let's keep pressing them. Let's keep pressing them. Let's talk to them. Whatever we can do to keep that negative energy there, we're going to continue to do that. Quick story, I was playing in Chicago a long time ago, and Jim Harbaugh was a quarterback, had came in for Jim McMahon. And the linemen just didn't have that energy. As soon as Jim McMahon, who was broken up and shoulder back, as soon as he came to the huddle, it seemed like the linemen kind of, the shoulders rolled back, and the offense just had this great confidence because of his leadership. And that's kind of, sometimes the quarterback position, that's what it's about. Sometimes it really.
Harbaugh wasn't a leader?
Well, at that point, that was still a lot of guys from the '85 Bears, and they loved Jim.
You asked that question. May I answer that?
Yeah.
Because I think about Jim Harbaugh when we talk about coaches who should have power over an organization, the Jets or whatever. But you know what, Skip, Eric, Kerry, when you're talking about a guy as exceptional as his resume is as a coach, when you are in an executive position, it's not just good to be leaders of men who got to go out there and perform for you. It's good to be leaders. When you're a leader of an organization, you have to also be inspirational. And I don't know that about, and you were talking about, you got Jim McMahon. Well, you know, he comes up in there. If you're a guy that just marches to your own beat and you're just a little bit different, do you rally the troops? And sometimes I find myself wondering about that with Cam Newton now because they believe in him, and when things are great, it's great. But when they down, are they going to look to you or look away from you because they're afraid to look at what they see what they may see?
Everyone can feel that.
Yeah, it's demoralizing. You can strip it.
And on the same point, just to be fair to Russell Wilson, remember now he's lost Percy Harvin and Golden Tate, and they're down to a couple of guys I've never even heard of before.
But not only that, Skip, and he's got a smile on his face, and he's like this. We'll figure it out.
Next man up.
We'll figure it out. Next man up.
Cuzzo, we got to send you off. I hate it.
No. Man.
I know. It was a
But
good
it's all
time.
good.
I
I'm
know.
back.
Okay, so that was a grab of a jersey and a throw down.
Just throw down.
Okay.
With 2 penalties.
Was that a vampire?
It still shouldn't have been called.
Yes.
But that shouldn't have been called.
Flopping flag.
If you weren't a cornerback, you would be saying that.
Flopping
flag.
You would not if you were not a cornerback.
You would not.
I was
You
a
would
running
not.
back in high school.
All
so
right.
High school. A long time ago. Long time ago.
Eric Allen,
Long time ago.
so